what I'm curious about, and I'm sorry, I'm like sidebarring this a little bit, is do you find value in actually comparing that cost per the CPMR, right? Like on a month to month basis, like comparing this, I'm comparing January in isolation against February in isolation because I'm curious, like if my new, and maybe this is what you mean with the sliding, um, my new creative strategy last month, my CPMR was $50. This month, it's $40 in isolation, not rolling, right? Just in isolation. Is that how you're using it? Am I understanding that correctly?
So I guess CPMR, just also to add, one more definition, right? So that's like, instead of CPM, right, is your cost per impression. CPMR is just your cost per reach. So cost per 1,000 people reached. And one thing I love about CPMR is that you can put that column in your ads manager. So I actually use CPMR a lot. And so,
And
yeah, I'll
CPMR
use
is total ad spend divided by accounts reached divided by 1,000.
that's right. So, for instance, if when it's in my ads manager, you can start to pick up on patterns really easily because it's right there with the rest of your data you're staring at. So, I like CPMR for that reason. The other thing that I noticed is that CPMR aligns really well with some of these other metrics that we care about, to like cost per 1,000 net new reach. For people that can't see my hand drawing, but if you see it moving in an S shape, you'll find that your CPMR also is probably moving in that same, S shape. It may not be to the same degree, but they're very directionally correlated. And so I'll use CPMR in the ad account, and I like to use it to compare. For instance, there's talk about whether what whitelisting does for your reach. And so in most of the accounts that I've looked at, I'll see the CPMR for my whitelisted ads. Generally, if it's a good ad, much lower than sort of my account average. And so I'll use it comparatively a lot. I'm not sure that I use it as much month over month without additional context. And that additional context would be like, what's the cost of my traffic, in general, this month, and other things that, that could have an effect on that. But I also like your ad spend level, right? It's going to change depending on how much you're spending. So if you start blasting Black Friday, spend, that might look different, and that's one more factor, to compare or to take into consideration.
All right, friends, quick break. This episode is brought to you by Northbeam, the marketing attribution platform that we love over here at the pod. And good news, Northbeam is launching Northbeam Incrementality. Northbeam Incrementality gives you automated, easy, self-service incrementality tests while protecting you from the major mistakes so many people make while running these incrementality tests. Because honestly, most of these incrementality tests are kind of a mess, right? So what I love about it is it gives you a casual truth you can act on every day, not one-off siloed reports, and it does it end to end. So it automates lift testing, it connects you with your MTA and MMM, so you can scale what works and cut what doesn't, all in one dashboard. That's the real game changer. Now that Northbeam has incrementality, it means you can run the absolute trifecta of marketing measurement in one single platform, all using the same data. Northbeam Incrementality launches this quarter. Get over to northbeam.io/incrementality and be the first on the list. And they're offering 50% off unlimited tests for a year to advertisers who join now. Tell them we sent you at the Scalability School. Can't wait to hear about it.
The whitelisting example is an interesting one. I'm going to ask a question which may sound like I'm skeptical, but it's because I think I know you're going to have a good answer to it. But it's like, why is ROAS not enough in that scenario? And I think there's maybe two examples you could give. It's like, well, if ROAS is working, maybe we don't need to worry as much about the reach on it or the unique reach on it. But it might be a secondary thing where we say, hey, we see ROAS, and then we look at that, and it's like it's much lower than our account average, and that's an indication that we're reaching new people, as an example. On the flip side, it's like, well, if it's not working, and we go look at this, and it's super high, or especially when it's overlapped with our current reach, it's super high. It's like, well, then we haven't reached enough new people. It's like we worked with a whitelisting partner that didn't make our current pocket better or didn't expand into a new pocket. Am I understanding that correctly of how you're using it, or any other ways you're using it?
Yeah, that's how I would look at it. I think you captured it well there, in the sense that ROAS is, obviously that's super important, and that is enough in most cases, but there is some benefit to knowing whether you're reaching a new audience or not. And that might indicate that you can push hard on this. It might indicate, like, if you have a goal of having a more sort of more creative diversity and reaching new audiences, that CPMR can be one indicator that that's happening, and then you might be able to push harder on that. The other thing is that, and we're kind of jumping around to different things, but is using sort of the campaign compare overlap report. And because another weird thing about sort of net new reach and all of that is that you can't really isolate one campaign in that first type in a monthly rolling reach setting, because the way that we're relying on Meta to deduplicate everything for us. And so we have to use the whole, and it does that at the account level. It won't necessarily do that for us. If you just have one campaign selected, then you don't know, were they included in any other campaign, right? So because initially when I was working on this tool, I was like, yeah, we should build this out and for campaigns and ads. You can't actually do that. But what you can do is do an overlap report. And so an overlap report is basically you would take the account reach for, let's say, a 30-day period. And let's say that's 1,000, to keep it easy. And then you have the total account reach without that particular campaign selected. And then in that way, you find out how much is that campaign contributing that is not being contributed by other campaigns. What you'll find, it's really interesting, is if you have any retargeting campaigns, sure enough, they have 100% overlap. Also, you'll find that a lot of your like broad campaigns have maybe like 40, 50% overlap. And then when you find, in my experience, something that's really working well in terms of reaching new audiences, it might be, I don't know, it could be in the 20s, 30s, at 40% overlap. Those are all sort of winning numbers. But so that's what I'll use as well for my whitelisting ads too, is I'll do the campaign overlap and see, is this reaching audiences that aren't being reached by all my other campaigns? And that's a positive indicator to me if my ROAS is also good. If it has, its own pocket and I'm not getting anything good out of it, it could be garbage, right? And so of course you want to use those other things to keep you grounded, those other metrics.
So if you go through, so just to recap, kind of thinking about this. So people go through, they're having trouble scaling, having trouble identifying what's really working. You're going in and you're looking at, obviously you're going to look at rolling reach. Then you're going to look at incremental cost per net new reach. You're looking at CPMR, which is essentially what we talked about, the calculation. Then frequency. What other things are you looking at? I mean, obviously you're looking at sort of the classics, but those are some of the deeper metrics. And right now, what are the most common things you see when you're auditing? And by the way, we'll put all these calculations and everything in the show notes. So that's no problem. We'll have that for you that, you can run that through. You can also sign up for Kurt's tool, which we'll have in the show notes as well, called Ad Insights, that does all this for you as well. But I'm just curious, like, what else are you looking at to diagnose and what are the main things you see?